What was the first bottle, region, or wine moment that made you think, okay, I'm officially in this for life?
It was when I actually was not in wine. I was a pastry cook at Lever House, and this was
Aha.
2005. And the sommelier came to the back and said, "Sarah, you've got to try this wine." It was Gaia Sori Tildin, and
Oh, come on.
I think it was 1998. And she said, "These people didn't finish the bottle. You've got to try it." And I put it on my palate, and I didn't know this at the time, but I learned just in the last year and a half or so that I have synesthesia. And I put that wine on my palate, and it was like my mind exploded and went wide and went deep, and I saw color and shape and energy, and it was like something I had never had before, and it completely changed the way I thought about wine.
Hello, wine lovers. This is a heart-to-heart conversation. One microphone, lot of guests, and a lot of questions from our favorite wine host, Stevie Kim.
I'm here with Sarah Looper, also known as LooperSomm, recently acclimated as an Italian wine ambassador by VIA, Vinitaly International Academy. She is actually a sommelier at Il Buco. Is that your position?
Yes.
Okay. And wine educator known, I checked out your Insta profile, known for making wine approachable, funny, and unpretentious. Sarah's own platform frames her mission as changing how America learns about wine with a strong emphasis on accessibility, humor, and confidence building. Are you ready for my questions?
I'm ready for your questions, Stevie.
Okay. So, Sarah, you have worked across restaurants, education, media, and content. How would you describe LooperSomm to someone who has never met you?
How would I describe LooperSomm to someone who has never met me? LooperSomm is a platform that allows non-wine pros to learn how to talk about wine, articulate their preferences in an unsnobby way so they feel more comfortable and confident when they talk about and shop for wine.
Excellent. Next question. What was the first bottle, region, or wine moment that made you think, okay, I'm officially in this for life?
It was when I actually was not in wine. I was a pastry cook at Lever House, and this was
Aha.
2005. And the sommelier came to the back and said, "Sarah, you've got to try this wine." It was Gaia Sori Tildin, and
Oh, come on.
I think it was 1998. And she said, "These people didn't finish the bottle. You've got to try it." And I put it on my palate, and I didn't know this at the time, but I learned just in the last year and a half or so that I have synesthesia. And I put that wine on my palate, and it was like my mind exploded and went wide and went deep, and I saw color and shape and energy, and it was like something I had never had before, and it completely changed the way I thought about wine.
Oh, yeah, not too shabby.
Yeah,
huh?
right.
Yeah. Okay. You have built a voice around making wine less intimidating. Was that a conscious mission from the beginning, or did it grow naturally from working with guests and students?
I think it was a natural segue for me to find my way into that. When I started LooperSomm, though, it was an outlet to just start tasting wine that is $16 or under and evaluating them in a very knee-jerk kind of way. Pop them, taste them. Are they worth the money and worth your palate? And then it just turned into me wanting to share pro wine tips and wine education. I had this series, Wine Education 101, and it was, this is what an appellation is. And it's spelled appellation, not Appalachian, like the trail in the United States. And helping people understand why Prosecco might be almost always a little bit more sweet than true champagne is, or a brut champagne. And how you can tell on a bottle of Riesling if the wine might have some residual sugar by looking at the alcohol level. And driving home that not all Rieslings are sweet, but if you like that style, look for lower alcohol. Tips and tricks to look for if you want to try something, again, using the Riesling example, if you want to try a dry one, look for the word Trocken or GG. Just ways for the general consumer to navigate a wine store or a wine list, looking for key words to help them understand in a moment what the wine might be like and what to expect out of that bottle of wine. So I think it started from these are wine tips, and then it evolved into let's make this really approachable and not intimidating.
Okay. So your background includes restaurant work, wine education, journalism, retail, import, distribution, just about everything, right?
Yeah.
So which part of that journey shaped your palate the most?
Ooh, that is such a challenging question. I think that my palate was shaped primarily in two ways. The first way was the tasting group that I met with for 6 years on every single Saturday, rain or shine, holiday or not. And it was a core group of us that studied together every single week for 6 years. And listening to other people's vocabulary, their approach, how they were applying their knowledge and understanding of theory to what they were tasting. And everyone set up, tasted, and cleaned up. So it was a real community of wine nerds and wine students. And some of those people are now Master Sommeliers, and some of those people are now Cicerones, and some of us are still just floor sommeliers, but all of us are, in the end, are wine lovers. The other true influencer was when I was the tastings director of Wine and Spirits magazine. And during a tasting cycle, I would taste up to 400 wines in a week. And as the tastings director, I also played interference for the critics. So I would taste everything that was submitted that was $15 and under. And so that $15 and under category included Argentine Malbec, it included Rioja, it included Italy, it included Prosecco, it included everything that was $15 and under, non-domestic. And for a year and a half, I would taste through those 15 and unders, whittle them down to a group, and then pass those off to the critic for them to then taste. I also sat on, it might be hundreds of panels, because I also sat on the panel for Wine and Spirits magazine for years before becoming the tastings director. And really understanding a global view, because we didn't taste domestic wines at the New York office. The domestic wines were tasted out of the California office. And understanding how particular vintages are shaped, what producers' profiles are like, what their beliefs are, whether or not a house uses a lot of new oak or smaller oak or botti or foudre, or if they don't use sulfur at any point in the winemaking process. I really learned how to understand the sense of place by tasting really focused panels of wine, 40 wines at a time, sometimes 3 times a day, 5 days a week for several weeks during the tasting cycle. It was a mad dash.
So you worked with Stephanie.
I worked with Stephanie Johnson, who's a jam.
Okay. All right. And lastly, what did restaurant service teach you about wine that no textbook ever could?
Restaurant service teaches you compassion.
Farm to table.
It teaches you how to listen to your guest. It teaches you how to connect and embrace the guest where they're at. There are some guests who say, I don't know anything about wine and I don't know how to choose. And how to say, that's okay, and I'm here to help, and I'm here to guide you. And what do you feel like tonight? Not so much what are you in the mood for, or what do you usually drink? It's in this moment, how do you feel? Do you want to celebrate, or are you feeling contemplative? What do you want? And textbooks do not teach you hospitality. And hospitality, in my humble opinion, is how do I make my guest feel? And I want them to feel loved, and I want them to feel seen and heard, and that I'm doing my best to get them into a wine that they will absolutely love, no matter what their budget or price point.
Thank you for listening. You can find this episode also on our YouTube channel, Mama Jumbo Shrimp, on video format. See you next time on A Heart to Heart Conversation.